It's Monday, May 18th, 2015. I'm Jimmy Principe.
And I'm Trey Comstock. Put in your final orders because this is Tech's Last Call, episode 115. Your last call for tech news of the week. Tonight, Jimmy buys some AOL at Walmart because it's like 1995, and I get hyped on Nintendo's latest plan straight out of 1990. But we start tonight with Walmart going Prime.
Not Optimus Prime.
Just Amazon.
Just Prime. In a tale of titans colliding, Walmart this week announced it would take on Amazon with its own unlimited shipping service for $50 a month.
$50 a month, yes.
Yep. $50 a year. First reported by Information, Walmart will roll out its service on an invitation-only basis and only include about 70,000 items at launch, as opposed to the nearly 7 million items that they have in stores. This service would appear to be designed to compete with Amazon Prime. People haven't heard of it, but in case you didn't know, it is a $99 a year service that offers free 2-day shipping on almost anything, in the world, along with additional services such as streaming movies, TV shows, and music.
Cloud storage,
yeah.
The ability to get a button that you can hit and then things just show up at your house.
Oh, yes. Now Walmart has built their business on offering everything for the lowest possible price.
Just like Amazon. I mean, it's the Amazon of the physical world, or really Amazon's the Walmart of the digital world.
Yeah, Amazon has established themselves as the Walmart of the digital world, in that anyone can buy from Amazon. And even if you don't have Amazon Prime, if you spend more than $35, you can have it shipped for free. But the real question is, do we think that, Walmart being as dominant as they are in the physical stores market and their massive ability to move goods and negotiate prices is going to really challenge Amazon in the online space? Or do we think this is really just going to be a boondoggle?
I don't know. Because the interesting thing is, in some ways, Amazon consumers and Walmart consumers aren't mutually exclusive, but
they
the
overlap.
Crossover is...
There is a Venn diagram there.
But their overlap is limited, right? So Amazon Prime appeals to the technorati. The upper middle class consumer. Amazon and Target have more of a crossover than Amazon and Walmart do, right?
I'd agree with that.
So Walmart is this thoroughly mostly Southern, thoroughly working class entity. Working class, lower middle class. Trust me, I spent a lot of time at Walmart because it's about the only way I can buy things up in my country home, up at the parsonage, right? I spent a lot of time at the Walmart in Dalton and the one in Fort Oglethorpe. Just depending which way I'm coming. If I'm coming up from Atlanta, it's Dalton. If I'm coming down from Chattanooga, it's Fort O. This is the logistics of my life. And what I've noticed is just it's a different, and some of this is just where I work is in one of the poorest areas of the country, and that's part of it. But I grew up in Walmarts, right? I was a suburban kid.
Well, there's that Walmart that's right next to the Woodlands. Yep. That is, I mean, it is on the edge of, admittedly, a very affluent area, but even then, there's still, you look at the socioeconomics in that Walmart, and you're still looking at mostly the lower middle class that's on the other side of the highway from it, not the people that are immediately adjacent to it.
So this is not for me to make some sort of weirdly classist, judgment, but to say that I think it's
merely an observation, really.
But I think there's an untapped. What I mean is, I think there's an untapped market for Walmart to tap into. This isn't just everyone already, because a lot of the arguments I'm hearing in the tech press is everyone already has Amazon Prime. No, they don't. There is a separate group of consumers who have much higher brand loyalty to Walmart that isn't the tech press, and I think that's a fertile market for Walmart. And what's interesting is these two companies are similar. also in how they treat their workers and how they treat their suppliers. Amazon and Walmart, and like Walmart, like, oh, I don't shop at Walmart. They treat their workers terribly, and yet that all these same people that shop at Amazon
instead shop on Amazon
terribly. Like Walmart just announced like this big raise that they gave so that it's just modicumly closer to a living wage. Both of these people are terrible to their workers and beat the crap out of their suppliers to get these remarkably low prices. And think about limiting their selection in terms of the high speed stuff, right? So Amazon, for like the Amazon Fresh or the Amazon hit the button and the thing shows up, it's a very limited range of products.
Walmart has a similar service that they rolled out in 2012 in 5 markets around the country. I don't remember what it's called. It's not in my market,
it's not in mine either.
It's not filed away in my brain as something I need to know. But I know that they have a service like that, and they also Walmart has been kind of pushing to try to get like the neighborhood markets, which is the piece that they add on for Walmart supercenters.
Yeah, right. Or they also have standalone stores too.
They have, but I think that Amazon, I think the tech press has kind of dismissed this story in a lot of ways, and I think that the part of it is that it's a lot of, oh, by the way, it's a thing.
Also, I mean, I get the sense that Walmarts are bigger in the South than they are on the West Coast or in New York, which is, by the way, where most of these people are writing from.
That's true. There are a lot of Walmarts. And there's a very nice Walmart not that far from me.
Remember my age-old question, does it play in Kansas? Right? Most of Silicon Valley crap doesn't play in Kansas. This plays in Kansas.
And so what I think is most interesting about this is that Walmart and part of Walmart's vision is they want to be able to provide a consistent experience across every platform. So they want you to be able to buy something online for the same price you'd buy it in the store, be able to pay for something online and pick it up in the store, ship it from the store to your house, go online and ship it to your house, all kind of bundled in together with the same idea. But I think that Walmart's problem is they're not having as much success from their online. And I think that for $50 a month, they are targeting the thing that I actually care about with my Amazon Prime, the thing that I actually look at and I go, hey, this is the reason why I pay for Amazon Prime. In fact, I just had this conversation with my my mom today because my entire family mooches off my Amazon Prime for free shipping. And I take into account the fact that they are using my free shipping whenever I reevaluate, hey, do I want to renew Amazon Prime? Because I don't use the instant stuff. I have Netflix. Netflix is still better. Like,
I don't know.
It has all the Disney stuff.
So I always keep coming back to my issue with the streaming platforms is I don't know. I can't ever count on any one thing being in any one place. And so half the time what I want is on Amazon, particularly the 1990s version of Johnny Quest is on Amazon.
Well, the solution to this problem is the ultimate search things like what the Roku has and what the Xbox One is trying to move towards.
And does, that works. The Xbox, I use the Xbox One. I haven't used it
on the Xbox One.
I do use it a fair amount, and I find
I've used it on the Roku.
But
I still just go to Netflix.
Right.
It's the way my brain works. It's not that I'm not saying that the stuff that's on Amazon is not of use to me. It's the instant stuff I don't use. I go to Amazon when I want to rent something.
I use iTunes for the rental side. I do use Amazon occasionally for streaming, but the truth is I just don't stream a lot of random stuff.
Yeah, and whereas while I was prepping for the show, I was streaming season 1 of West Wing again because reasons.
See, for that kind of stuff, I have giantbomb.com.
Right.
For my just like random fill time streaming, it's how one of the ways I keep up on the video game scene is having that kind of stuff going on.
But I come back to my point, which is that I think that Amazon's added a bunch of these services, and their justifications for the price of the service almost more than they are, and they're an attempt to pull you further into the Amazon ecosystem. And I know that for me personally, it doesn't work. However, I'm sure that with people that have Kindle Fire tablets and Amazon Fire TV sticks, that those are applications where if you have an Amazon device, presumably Amazon is featuring their own content fairly prominently on the device. So you would be more likely to just say, oh, forget it, I'll just go. It's the same thing with iTunes. Why would you buy music from somewhere else at this point when you can just buy it from iTunes?
Sure,
all music is the same price.
And usually at this point in history,
most movie digital downloads are the same price. Most TV show digital downloads are the same price. So if you have an Apple device, just use iTunes, because why not?
Right, and since you don't really have to worry, but that makes an assumption, and for me, it's an assumption I'm willing to live with, because I use PCs and Macs, and then I use Apple mobile devices, and so for me, I don't often run into a problem where I can't get to my media, except when I want to watch things on the Xbox One. And one of the reasons why I still have a media PC is because of the lock-in of iTunes, which is not a problem you have with the Amazon apps. Those things are everywhere.
Yeah, that's true, and that's one of the reasons why I do purchase
closer
music
to everywhere than iTunes.
I'm probably going to start actually purchasing just straight digital music instead of doing the CDs that I've been doing for years. It's watch out, man. It's like 2002 up in here.
Yeah,
I know. Our 90s themed show, man. I'm ruining it by going to 2002. But I think that what Walmart can offer that Amazon can't is that if Walmart is trying to do something like quick deliveries, they already have an existing infrastructure of stores.
Yes, but they
and
don't
warehouses, and so Walmart, unlike other tech startups that would be trying to challenge Amazon at their own game, Walmart already has all of the infrastructure that they need, and Walmart
lack one piece, which is the same piece that Amazon lacks, and that is their own delivery service.
Yes, that's true.
Walmart's in better shape than Amazon for that. Like, you need it now, it will show up, because Walmart, odds are, if you live in the United States, certainly in the South, there's a Walmart close to you. I mean, there's one 25 minutes away from me here.
Well, and that's also if you really need something, like now, because right now I use kind of the dual service thing. Like, I'll check to see if I can get, especially if it's a tech item, I'll check to see if I can get it at Best Buy for a reasonable price online, because I can buy online and reserve in store. And if I can't do that, then I just buy it on Amazon.
Right, but for me, like, if I didn't want to leave my house, because I could just drive to Target, or I could just drive to Walmart. But if I didn't want to leave my house but still wanted it today, if Walmart can crack that nut, it's going to be extremely useful for me. If they can't, or if they choose not to, and then as Amazon's continuing to build out their infrastructure, and I still think, rather than Carl Icahn, I think Amazon should have bought Lyft, right? Or bought a huge stake in Lyft. Because I think that's the last piece they need. And so if Amazon... At this point, I think Uber's just too expensive. The only companies that could buy Uber, because it's valued at $41 billion, which...
It's like Google and Apple.
And Apple, it wouldn't in any way deplete their cash reserves.
They were just going to go, whatever. We'll write you a check.
A fifth of their cash reserves, I think, would be $40 billion.
But this is going to be one of those. We'll see. We'll see what Walmart ends up doing. But I think that you may end up seeing that Amazon is going to be Target and Walmart is going to be Walmart.
Walmart will continue to be Walmart.
That's just going to be okay. And at some point, all the whiz bang features will you'll reach where you're not compromising on other things, and so you'll have to make that decision of whether or not the Amazon services are worth paying for, or whether you just go ahead and buy from Walmart.
Well, technically, Walmart owns a streaming service too, Vudu.
Didn't they shut that down?
I think they did, but
I think they
could
shut
relaunch
that down. That's true. They could.
They own.
It didn't really work.
No, sure, but if they're really focusing now on being this kind of internet company, maybe. Although
they have the potential to go that way,
right? Because right now their consumers are not predominantly internet people. It's not. They have internet access, but it's not the technorati. The technorati.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Vizios were originally sold exclusively at Walmart.
That's my understanding. Certainly, that's where I bought my first Vizio.
That's my recollection. That may not be true. Fact checking is the death of podcasts. So I'm not going to fact check, and I'm just going to say that that's true. But if they weren't exclusive, they were certainly one of the big reasons why Vizio is the company they are today. And so Walmart is a force to be reckoned with. That
look, dude, they're the largest retailer. They're the largest retailer on the planet.
The thing to remember is that 5 to 10 years ago, I can't remember specifically what year, but 5 to 10 years ago, Walmart was the most valuable company in the United States.
Yeah. Until Apple lifted off like a rocket ship.
Yeah, actually, I think that was probably 2007. Right, was when Walmart was most valuable.
Basically, pre-iPhone Apple, right? It was Walmart was the most valuable company in the country for a reason, and they just again it's this weird class divide that because the tech press Walmart that's that's for hicks and weirdos.
Yeah, but at 4 a.m., there's only one place I can get the random stuff I need.
Right. Or out in Dalton, Georgia. That's realistically, that's where I can get what I need at the times I need to get it.
And for a good price, too.
Yeah, because they treat their workers like Amazon. They treat their workers and suppliers like hell. So speaking of people being treated like hell, we heard rumors that Facebook was launching its own content hosting service for a while. But last week, we got confirmation that, that's happening.
That's actually a thing now.
Yeah. They announced Facebook Instant Articles. What it does is it offers content partners the ability to host their content directly on Facebook. This means that their content will load much faster, particularly on mobile. Facebook says that it could be up to 10 times faster than the mobile average of 8 seconds for page loads. And trust me, I've had much longer than 8 seconds.
8 seconds seems pretty good.
It also means that content partners can take advantage of Facebook's rich media features like auto-playing video.
I hate that.
But if it was in an article you'd already clicked on,
that's fair.
I think it could really enhance the experience.
Well, they also always autoplay with it muted until you interact with it. Yeah,
and that's actually caused a spike in video content usage on Facebook that they were bragging about a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So you can do that, embedded audio, zoomable high-res images, and interactive maps. What's interesting is the content partners will be able to keep their own unique style and will have the ability to embed their own ads without giving any of the revenue to Facebook. They can also go with Facebook ads and then receive a split of the revenue like normal. Facebook announced 9 content partners, including the New York Times, NBC News, National Geographic, BuzzFeed, and The Atlantic. So no joke. Also Spiegel in Germany, The Guardian, and BBC News in Britain. It's a thing.
Well, and those are all, I mean, I'm going to say this and I'm going to feel horrible for saying it. BuzzFeed is actually the big one there for click-through.
Oh, I don't know.
In our generation.
But this is appealing across. Then what New York Times was talking about how they see a lot of engagement on Facebook. And the big quote in all the articles talking about this is that 50% of millennials get their news from Facebook. So the fact that you have 2 of the leading newspapers globally, The Guardian, who was instrumental particularly in the Edward Snowden stuff, but was a big deal before then with a long and storied history, and the New York Times, which is somewhat the United States newspaper. I'm sorry, Washington Post, but that's true. I am somewhat loyal to the Washington Post, but they are a little too loyal to Washington, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a little too inside the Beltway.
A little too inside the Beltway. Anyways, looking at this critically, on one level, faster and better mobile media with a reasonable ad arrangement could be good for both partners and users alike. It's an attractive deal. On the other hand, it puts more of the web inside a walled garden, which could have long-term issues for freedom of expression, especially given Facebook's often aggressive censorship, cooperation with hostile and repressive regimes, and the oblique nature of the newsfeed algorithm and exactly how that serves you content. So, Jimmy, if you were the New York Times, would you be more excited or afraid?
I think as the New York Times, you don't have a choice. I think that, okay, let me back off that statement a little bit. I think that I would be more afraid, but if I was the New York Times, I would be more excited, because if your page is able to load faster, then you're going to get even more engagement, because most of the stuff that I back out of on Flipboard, on Facebook, is because the page load just takes too long. I'm just like, forget it. It's not worth it.
Sure.
And so
I think that says something deeply existential about our culture.
Well, usually it's because I'm not browsing it for real news. I'm browsing. It's usually like, oh, what random factoid are you going to tell me today? I'll read that, and then it takes a while to load.
What are the top 10 things that do blank on blog?
Yeah, exactly. All the BuzzFeed stuff. I just gotta go.
So that was my New Year's resolution. I gave up BuzzFeed, and you know what? I've stuck to it, and my life is better.
It's probably for the best.
I fell down a BuzzFeed hole for about 3 months in the fall, and so my New Year's resolution is like, no more listicles. Because I don't actually care about that content. And most of them are garbage. Yeah, but I mean, think BuzzFeed, to their credit, BuzzFeeds are the least garbage of the listicles. They actually care somewhat about content quality. They are the high-class listicles. They're still listicles, which is still garbage. But they're big, partly on the back of oddly quality. Which sounds like a strange thing when referring to listicles. And BuzzFeed. But look, BuzzFeed's broken. Big stories about Uber. Like, we can hate on BuzzFeed all we want, but remember, like, people used to hate on CNET and GameSpot, right? That's true. Or IGN, all those. Or remember when Engadget was just that dumb blog? Okay. That is, yeah. Engadget did used to be a dumb blog. The cream rises to the top of new media. And now we just think of these things as storied institutions, the big players, your CNETs. The big players in the internet space. Your CNETs and your Engadgets. People used to not give blogs press credentials at E3, right? And now that's whole shifted. So you mock BuzzFeed all you want. And I give up their content on purpose. But they're partnering with them, I think, is not... Partnering with them is they are a big player in this space, and it makes perfect sense to partner with them. And their content isn't terrible. And I think that the most of the stuff I've seen on this basically alludes to the slippery slope. Yeah, which is not a good rhetorical strategy, but go for it. Which is the argument for the specifically the walled garden thing. So I'll address the actual story first. Actual story is this is probably good for as a Facebook user. This will improve the user experience. Yes. And it will improve. It will probably improve the quality of what you're getting from the groups that have bought into it. And they're still going to make money doing it because they get to keep, if they embed their ad, they keep 100% of the revenue. But the other thing that you have is by doing that where they'll do the split revenue with you, Facebook is basically saying, it's in our walled garden, but if we serve ads against your content, yeah, we get to take some of it, but you do too. We're not going to just take all of the ad revenue. I think this is I think on that side of it, this is beyond reasonable. So I think that side of it, that makes perfect sense. The slippery slope argument, I think, is kind of nonsense, because the argument is that if Facebook does something like this, then Google will have to respond and do something similar. I think that is as a non-argument, because Google fundamentally does not operate in that way. No. Google's goal is to serve you the information as quickly as possible. Also, Google has backed off being a social network. Yeah, right? They're basically dismantling Google Plus for the useful parts. They've folded Plus Photos into one Google Drive and just made it a folder called Pictures, so you can now access everything. And so it's a really great it's a really great thing for Google backing off of that, because all of a sudden this becomes almost not a non-slippery slope item. And the other thing is that when you have things like the New York Times and the Guardian and NBC News and Nat Geo, they're gonna host it other places. Right. And they are their own organizations. They will host it other places. Right. They will still get hits and subscribers and on their own sites, because they will have premium content that you cannot get Also,
True.
3 of those have stood up for press freedom for, in some cases, more than 100 years. In the case of The Guardian and The New York Times. And Der Spiegel is no small player either. Like, if they feel like they're being shut down, like, you're going to hear about it.
You're going to hear about it, and they will vilify Facebook in every way possible. So you really don't want to go there with these guys.
Right. Like, The New York Times I think, realizes it needs Facebook more than it used to. But if it wants to turn on Facebook, the New York Times brand can
it will
stand
burn
on its
Facebook
own.
to the ground.
Right. I mean, the front page of the New York Times is still quite a weapon. That you have at your display. The same with The Guardian. The same with the Der Spiegel.
Well, and the other thing is that if something like that were to happen, all of these groups would respond.
Right.
These are not groups that I'm worried about not responding.
Right.
So I think that the walled garden, it's like Netflix putting servers in like Verizon and Comcast data centers. That's what it's like to me. So people are like, oh, well, but net neutrality, slippery slope, this, that, the other. No. Netflix is acknowledging that like latency is a problem, and so what they're doing is they're saying, hey, can we like put our server super close to your stuff so that like it's really fast? And
because the reality, that's, by the way, how the internet works. So I finished this book called Tubes, which is kind of traces the physics.
Is that the one that's the actual physical architecture of the internet, talking about like the undersea
written by this guy who really
and
likes flowery language entirely too much, but that's fine.
Did you do an audiobook?
Yeah, I did.
It was good?
No. Yes and no. Right? You definitely feel the impact of the flowery language, and if you are up for that, it is interesting. I enjoyed my time with it. But the internet, in some ways, the infrastructure of the internet relies on a lot of physical proximity. And the more you can do that, the faster things load. And so you need some semblance of that.
That's why that's why when you read about like Masters of Doom, for example, the mirroring of things on servers in your, not even just your country, but your region in the United States is important because it means that your download times will be vastly improved. Try pinging a server in London and see what your ping is, and it will not be good. Right,
and even in this day and age. I think what's interesting, and this kind of transitions us to the next story, is this isn't the first time this has happened. This is AOL, right? Think back. Remember those things like search AOL keyword Nick. Obviously, I was like 10, so I was watching Nickelodeon at the time. AOL did something similar like this. There was this kind of inside the AOL web that only AOL users could get to. And it kind of worked and it kind of didn't. And the internet still happened even outside that. And I think that's what's going to happen here too. There will be these like cool like Facebook implementations, but it still behooves these sites and all others to be more than one place, to be accessible via Google, to be shareable via Twitter, not just shareable via Facebook. And if it ever ends up in a thing where they can only put this stuff on Facebook, they're going to back out. Give them some credit for understanding that, yeah, Facebook has 1.4 billion users, but that's not the only place where people consume internets. There are other social networks. There are other settings. Some of these still have print newspapers and print magazines. I'm
going to point out that the ones that have print newspapers, at least in their primary location, still print their own newspapers.
Right.
Because they're not going to send it to someone else to print their own newspaper. Now, that doesn't necessarily work for when you're the New York Times. No.
I don't want a BuzzFeed newspaper.
That's the slippery slope, BuzzFeed newspaper.
Right. Like CNET just launched a print edition, right?
I know. I can't believe they did that.
Right. After they killed the print edition of PC Mag, then they released their own. Like, way to rub salt in the wound, CBSI. What's next? You're going to launch your own gaming publication using the writing talent of GameSpot and GiantBomb.com?
Wait for it. It's going to happen.
Okay, so speaking of things coming back from the dead, talk to me about AOL.
Yeah, so AOL's back in the news this week.
They have been for the past couple weeks.
But Verizon has officially announced, I think that the exact words are, announced its intention to purchase AOL for $4.4 billion. To which I said, I didn't realize dial-up cost that much.
Come on.
No,
Why?
but in
not
all
what
seriousness,
AOL. That is not what AOL is. Yes, however, 2 million people or whatever still subscribe. Yes, yes, I know. We talked about. This was in the press recently. I get that, but that is not what AOL is, and that's not why Verizon's buying them. And you know it.
I know.
Drives me. It's like the Walmart thing. It drives me crazy. It's just going for the lazy, easy laugh. Oh, America Online's just the where you had dial-up. Yes, okay, yeah, they still sell that, and they still make millions doing that, by the way.
Actually, yes. So the fun thing about that is they have 2 million dial-up customers, and they make an average of $21 a month on these dial-up customers. Right. So talk about the digital divide. Those poor people.
Well, some of them are. And some of them are. All of these people have been writing into Mike Elgin's show over on the Twit Network for a couple weeks now. Apparently, a lot of them have it as a backup. So you think about it this way.
Because it goes over the phone lines,
are very robust and everywhere. And so if you can't deal with a hotel's crappy Wi-Fi, you just dial in to America Online.
That is actually not a bad. I need to file that away. I'm going to look that up.
Right. So it's like a digital version of prepping.
So yeah. So like, in addition to the dial-up, it also has like a variety of news sources and
like really good ones.
A number of years ago,
TechCrunch.
Yeah. So like the Huffington Post,
like HuffPo, yeah.
Engadget, and TechCrunch.
Right.
And then in addition to that, they also have an ad platform,
which is what we. As I understand it, is what Verizon actually.
I think that's what they actually want. Yeah,
because there's all this talk of spinning off the web content properties.
Yeah. Recode actually is reporting that AOL may spin off not even just the web properties, the whole Huffington Post and all of that stuff that falls under Huffington Post as part of the acquisition, and
keep the ad platform.
Yeah, and so that has been valued at in excess of $1 billion by itself.
Yeah, in terms of annual revenue for AOL.
And so that whole thing, the reason why
it makes more money than Bing.
That's fascinating, actually.
Stop and think about that for a second to put that in perspective, because Bing, I do not think is yet a $1 billion revenue maker for Microsoft.
Wow.
I may be wrong about that, but if it was, it only recently became $1 billion business.
So the whole like spinning it off kind of follows Verizon's own attempt last year of starting a news website called Sugar String.
Yep.
That fell under much criticism for banning stories related to U.S. cybersecurity and net neutrality while Verizon was dealing with that whole mess.
It's like that time CNET wouldn't give the
HAPA.
The HAPA, CBS would not let the CNET give the HAPA the Best of CES award. It was really like,
and then they lost the Best of CES.
And then they lost. Yeah, they stopped being the official media partner of the CEA for some reason.
That really hurt them. Yep. So even if they were to get all of the media platforms, according to a comment from a Verizon company spokesperson obtained by Ars Technica, quote. Well, AOL CEO Tim Armstrong will continue to lead AOL after this transition closes, and it's expected he will continue to manage the media properties the way he does today, end quote. So basically they're saying like, well, I mean, we really don't know, but he's probably just going to do the same thing he's already doing, so that's fine. So this deal still needs to get regulators' approval. But what do you think of Verizon's end goal in acquiring the king of free trials of dial-up on floppies?
On CDs. Sure, because Verizon wants an ad platform.
The ad platform is actually the news story here.
AOL's ad platform's really, apparently, I don't remember the specifics, but apparently it's really good in like. And has a lot of data, but what it lacks is mobile data. And Verizon goes, hey, we've got a lot of mobile data. So you put that together and you have a really strong ad platform that AOL uses on their own stuff and other places as well. And so it's this great like cross-platform ad thing that makes a lot of money and is apparently fairly robust. in a way that we don't think about.
Right.
And that's what Verizon wants. Verizon doesn't want dial-up subscribers. They already have their own DSL subscribers. I used to be one. It was not a great customer experience because DSL is awful. Sorry, Ringo Telephone Company. It just is.
They have so AOL calls that ad platform their platforms group, which specializes, this is a quote from Recode, specializes in automated ad sales on other publishers' properties. And that grew by 21% last year. Right. They still lost $10 million, but they did grow. Growth is the important information there. And an ad platform is not something that Verizon has. Well, and HuffPo and TechCrunch made $13 million.
Right, but didn't grow by much.
They grew by 8%.
Right. And so I think it's that differential growth. Also,
well, and that growth is going to kind of do this. Like there's only so much you're going to get there.
I think the content properties that AOL has right now are very strong. There has been some scuttlebutt that Ariana Huffington already wanted to move off of AOL. So maybe those were already going away. And maybe Verizon won't even need to deal with them leaving. They'll just kind of leave on their own. Who knows? There is kind of a Fox in the Henhouse issue with Verizon owning these things. Although at this point we should just be used to, broadband providers owning our media properties.
Comcast,
have you met
NBC.
Comcast lately? NBC Universal, a Comcast company.
Yep.
Which includes, by the way, let's remember, NBC News. A Comcast company.
Hey, they signed on with Facebook, though.
Yeah, I know. This is the second time we've mentioned NBC News in this show.
So
we may want to someday just get used to this idea of the Foxes owning the hen houses, which is not just not a good idea.
There's not a hen house mobile carrier, so Fox can't own them.
Fox, also earned by a jerk billionaire.
So this is
MySpace. Let's not forget. At one point, Fox News and MySpace were owned by the same person.
Yeah, that's
Bill O'Reilly and your terrible background of your social media site, all the same thing. And all of those things made me angry.
Anyways, on this Recode article,
what's next? Is Disney going to buy Verizon? And in that case, Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, The Muppets, NBC, ESPN, ABC, ABC Family, and your internet, all provided by Disney.
Why not?
Would it give me discounts at Disney parks? Because if that's the case, I would approve that merger.
I'm there.
I'm there. Disney needs to buy an ISP, and then Apple needs to buy Disney. And then we're done. No, then Apple buys Nintendo, and then we're done. There's only one company for all of this.
I think they call that a monopoly, and it's frowned upon in America.
But your competition's only one click away. That's Google's favorite phrase.
That is Google's favorite phrase. Yeah, so, I mean, the news here is that
Apple has the cash to do all of that. That's the news. Sorry, what was the actual news?
The actual news here is that Verizon is buying AOL and really just wants it for the ad properties. Yep. And if they can find someone that will give them the right price for the media properties, they will sell it.
Yep.
Because they don't want to be in that business. Because the last time they tried, they failed so miserably
that was bad.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to buy Ariana? Anyone want to deal with Ariana Huffington? Anybody? Going once? Going twice? Axel Springer is the answer to that question.
Axel Springer was the one. Yeah, I didn't remember. So there's a maybe.
So continuing.
Definitely maybe.
It's a definitely maybe. Call me. Anyways, speaking of things from the 1990s, remember when Nintendo gave up on the over-the-top stage show at E3 to focus on smaller digital announcements?
That's worked out really well for them.
Actually has been a fairly successful strategy. Well, Nintendo's found a new over-the-top replacement for this year's E3. They're bringing back the Nintendo World Championship like they used to do 25 years ago.
Because they're crazy.
For those of you who don't remember, or for who, like me, was 4 years old,
I don't remember.
You were 1. The last time this thing happened, The Nintendo World Championship involved people going through like different regional rounds of playing Nintendo games to arrive at one spectacular championship event where they then also played Nintendo games. If you're interested in competing, well, you don't have to be some esports maven or some YouTube personality. Qualifying will happen at various Best Buy locations around the country on May 30th.
I need to brush up on my Smash Brothers.
Yep. The final competition will be held at the Nokia Theater on June 14th, 2 days before the start of the Electronic 3. It will also be broadcast online, presumably as part of Nintendo's digital-focused strategy. So, Jimmy, I really have one question for you. Is your body ready?
No.
So to explain that joke, because I realized that that joke plays in the gaming press and doesn't necessarily play in real life. When Reggie Fils-Aimé, who's the head of Nintendo of America, was talking about I believe it was the Wii Fit or the Wii U Fit or one of the Wii Fitness
Probably
products.
the Wii Fit.
He declared, "My body is ready," and this has become a huge meme across gaming journalism ever since. And of course, the Verge article that I read just kind of threw it in line. Reggie Fils-Aimé, whose body is ready. Or something like that. It's just like, yep, here we go. And it doesn't help that the Nintendo video introducing this has Reggie doing like a training montage about like working his body, and so it's very clearly playing on this idea that Reggie's body is ready.
So the quote is from The Verge is first a quote, Reggie. Whether you're turning in online or joining us at the show, we want to include fans of all ages this E3 with an innovative and nostalgic focus on fun, end quote. Said Nintendo of America President Reggie Fils-Aimé in a statement. Obviously, his body is ready.
Right, yeah. I mock the tech press a lot. That was good.
That was good. That
I
was
felt
a
good
just
about
like,
that joke.
And there it is.
No, you got me, Verge. Well played. You got me. The Verge.
The Verge does have a sense of humor.
Yeah,
I have to give
good.
them that.
I am actually all jokes about Reggie's
this is going to
body.
be really interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
Well, especially because you consider that Smash Brother tournament. I said Smash Brothers very purposefully because Smash Brother tournaments are still like a huge thing. And
yeah,
so
watch the great YouTube documentary series The Smash Brothers to get a window into that scene.
And so I think you'll see that in a big way. Also, you'll see how bad you are at Smash Brothers. If you tune in online to the Nintendo World Championship.
Depending on, and they don't, as I remember it, they didn't actually tell you what games you would be playing. But I would, if there was like a Mario Kart focused part of this competition, I'd go to Best Buy and try to qualify. Why not? I might lose, but my Mario Kart skills have gotten pretty good over the past year or so since the Mario Kart 8 came out. I would probably, I'm not saying I'm like ace at Mario Kart, but I think I am good enough that I could go and have fun rather than just be like, oh God.
And be like, oh man, I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, because every other Nintendo property, I'm not a great platformer, as we've discussed previously. I've played a lot of Smash Brothers, but I'm no Smash Brothers expert.
No.
But Mario, I've played enough driving games in the past 25 years since I could have competed in this at the age of 4. That maybe.
Definitely maybe.
My body is ready.
Your body is ready.
My body is ready for something else, and that is this week's last call.
Begun. The pizza delivery wars have.
Oh, God.
So this week, Domino's entered the fray. So we previously reported on Pizza Hut where you could tell your Xbox 360?
Xbox 360.
Xbox pizza.
Right. And then there's a great Connect app brought to you by Pizza Hut where you could build your pizza.
So Domino's is not having any of that. They did have an Xbox One app that would do something similar where you could, with voice commands, tell them, I need pizza, but it was only available in the UK.
You could also do, through Domino's, I believe you could do /pizza in the World of Warcraft, and a pizza would show up at your house.
Yes, that too. So, but if all of that is just too much,
Or you aren't in WoW
or you're
often
not
enough.
in WoW often
Spend
enough,
more time in Azeroth. They miss you.
all you need to do is tweet a pizza emoji
An
to
emoji.
at Domino's, and you've got 30 minutes before the fresh pizza goodness arrives.
Maybe. Yeah.
Probably.
Depending on... anyways, yeah.
There is, of course, some minor setup, including linking your Twitter account to your Domino's account. So, like, they know that it's you, and don't send, presumably, pizza to Saskatchewan. But you also have to enable something called easy ordering.
Yeah, which is what you had to do for the Xbox stuff.
All the rest of these
and
things.
Slash Pizza and all of it, yeah.
But I think this may be the best way to get your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle favorite food through the internet.
And that was brought to you by Pizza Hut, I believe, and not Domino's.
They love pizza. Who cares?
No, but in the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, I believe it was Pizza Hut.
I didn't see it. I heard it was awful.
I mean, I saw it. I was the only one in the theater the day I saw it.
Yes, exactly. So they have hashtag easy order, I think, is the other one. If you tweet hashtag easy order to at Domino's, they'll send you a pizza as well. But
Can I
yeah,
DM them in a pizza emoji rather than having to publicly. I guess the point is for me to publicly admit that I'm ordering a pizza
from Domino's, yes,
with an emoji.
And the pizza emoji feature is not actually available yet. It will become available starting Wednesday, May 20th. So I will probably set up an account to deliver my brother a pizza for Wednesday, May 20th is his birthday, and tweet at
Follow
at
me,
Domino's.
T the Third, all in words, if you want to see a lot of pizza emojis on May 20th. I can guarantee you what my tweets are going to be on May 20th. Pizza emoji.
Yeah,
I'm going to try. Look, I try all of the dumb pizza ordering things. I will try this too.
My Domino's account so I can do this. You did try the Pizza Hut one on the Xbox 360 and you liked it.
Sure, it brought me a pizza.
It brought you a pizza through your
tend
Xbox
to like
360.
Things that
bring you pizza
without me having to call the pizza place.
The less talking to people you can do.
But look,
if you had a pizza slot in your door instead of a mail slot, that would be perfect. So that, like, you pay everything online, you pre-tip, and they just slide the pizza through the pizza slot.
If I owned my own home, I would do that. I would just I would get a brass plaque made at Things Remembered or whatever that says "Insert pizza here." I would type into the special instructions, shove it through the pizza slot. This will make this will make sense when you get here. And then I would make just a, cut, get a Sawzall. Maybe get, also do some, get like some molding around it so it looks nice. A little flap or maybe two cat flaps to cover it. Lift it up, in it goes. This is great. I don't own my own home, so this isn't an option. But if I did, oh yeah. Pizzas. I could not explain this to my landlord. Trey, why is there a regularly shaped hole in the door? Read the plaque. It all makes sense. And on that note, it's time to end.
What did you say? Insert pizza into the slot? I think that needs to be the...
Insert pizza into the slot. Or read the plaque. It all makes sense. But
read the plaque. It all makes sense.
Read the plaque. It all makes sense. And on that note, we really do need to get out of here. I'm hungry. Podcast at textlesscall.com is the email address where you can send your emails to. Facebook.com/textlesscall, Pinterest.com/textlesscall, or at textlesscall on the Twitters.
Yeah, tweet us your pizza.
Tweet us your pizza. You can retweet your pizza
We will not
emoji.
send you pizza.
We will not send it to you, but we will retweet your pizza emoji. However you find us, you'll be finding us, you'll be seeing us on the interwebs. Read the plaque.
Read the plaque.
Makes sense.
It all makes sense.
I really would do that too. Like, this is not.
I need to buy you a door for graduation. That way you can just place.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I move in the new parsonage. Just as long as we take the old door off and we can reinstall it when I move.
Really, you need that on the front of the church. youth building.